Welcome to day 2 of our discussion of the Iliad by Homer, an epic narrative. Let's begin by remembering back to what we talked about yesterday. Remember, this story, the Iliad, is set around the Trojan War between the Achaeans, other known as Greeks, and Troy. Now, legend has it that Paris, prince of Troy, stole Helen, beautiful wife of Menelaus, king of Sparta. King Agamemnon enlisted warriors to get her back. This became a 10-year war. The Iliad is set in the 10th year of the war. Now, one of the main warriors is named Achilles. He is the most gifted warrior, really, of both sides. And he has a quarrel with King Agamemnon over war prizes. The author of the essay that you read noted that maybe he had a point. He is, after all, the most gifted warrior. He also had a lot of pride, however, and so when he didn't feel like he was winning this quarrel, he refuses to fight. This gave the other side, and Hector, brother of Paris, who stole Helen and started this whole war, it gave Hector inroads into the ranks of the Achaeans. But when Hector kills Achilles' young friend Patroclus, Achilles seeks revenge. Let's consider the theme for a few minutes. There are several of them. First of all, the importance of family. We can agree on this theme. Secondly, the supremacy of fate. And last, the inevitability of death. If we were to fill out a soapstone for this, we would need to think about the tone. And we could say it's sad. Homer uses pathos effectively to drive the themes of death, fate, and war. Now let's look at God's perspective. In 1 Corinthians 15:55-57, Paul says, "O death, where is thy sting?" He knows that, while death might be scary for a moment, the sting is removed if you remember that you are eternally going to be with the Lord in heaven. That takes any fear and sting away from it. Also, considering fate, we need to flip that idea around and understand the reality of the sovereignty of God. Nothing surprises God. No war, no pandemic, no joy. Nothing surprises him. He holds everything in his hands. And what we need to understand is that his perspective is not so temporal. His perspective is eternal. And we can rest in the idea that he knows all and that he knows eternity. Now, I would like to show you pictures of some of the main characters and try to give you a little more connection to the names and to the relationships before we really get into the piece. Consider the first group of characters, the Achaeans, the Greeks. First, we have King Agamemnon. And let's learn a little bit more about him. First of all, he's the king of a Greek island, as is his brother. And he's the one that raised and led the Greek army against Troy. He did so on behalf of his brother, King Menelaus, king of Sparta. You've probably heard of that Greek city. King Menelaus is married to Helen. Helen is the one who fled with Paris. Unfortunately, she was not true to her wedding vows, and this action ignited the Trojan War. Now, on behalf of Menelaus, King Agamemnon gathered an army that included the greatest warrior of all, Achilles. Achilles had a human father named Peleus, and his mother was a sea nymph. He's known for his strength and also his uncontrolled pride. Supposedly, he's protected by magic. But he is not the only warrior of which you should be aware. Look out for the following names: Odysseus, Ajax, and Patroclus. Now let's think about the Trojans. First we have Priam and Hecuba. They had 2 sons. Their youngest son is Paris. You should be familiar with him now. He's the one that went and convinced Helen to come back to Sparta with him. His actions initiated the Trojan War. So he's the younger son. And then his older brother's name is Hector. He's arguably Troy's greatest warrior and one of the main heroes in the Trojan War. He's married to Andromache, and they have a son. Andromache is very upset. Her family has died as a result of this war, and she is hopeful that her husband will not suffer the same fate. One more group of characters that you need to be aware of are the Greek gods. The gods that Homer has created, false gods of course, to explain natural occurrences that happen in the work. I hope that considering the characters in their divisions, as well as considering what was moving the action, what the background story is on this piece, will help you feel set up for your next task. You're going to be reading just a little bit of the actual epic narrative today. And as you read, I want you to consider this. The piece is going to open with a conversation between Hector and Helen. However, the bulk of your reading is going to be a conversation between Hector and his wife, Andromache. In this conversation, I'm going to have some lines for you to consider. I want you to paraphrase these lines for what is said or for what is done. The lines that I pull out for you, or that will be provided you, will help you further understand the part that you're reading. Remember, when we address shorter poems, we use TPCast, and in doing so, we usually paraphrase line by line. I'm not asking you to paraphrase an epic narrative line by line, not even just a couple pages worth. I just need you to paraphrase the specific lines that should help you understand the meaning. So that is your task for today. You're going to read pages 196 to 200. If I were you, I think I would read it out loud. In fact, that's what I plan to do in preparation for our next time together. And again, take the lines that I provide and paraphrase those lines so that you can understand them better. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. One further thought. I offered this the last time that we had a story to read, and I will offer it again. If you feel like you need this read aloud to you for you to follow along, please email me and I'll see if I can accommodate that. I hope you enjoy this first part of maybe your first epic narrative that you've ever had the chance to read. Enjoy the Iliad. I'll meet you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.